Hello, everybody. Looks like we're having a little bit of the technical difficulties here. Let me just try and get this thing sorted out real quick. Looks like this window's fine. Let's switch here. The SPX. Alrighty, should we be fine? Why am I missing everything now? Why is it not working properly? What's the hold up? Okay. Let's just send it on its way. Okay. Sorry for that. Hello, how everybody's doing. Hello, Leo. Hello, Michalis, Joby, Mike, Casey. Oh, Casey had evolved his nickname here. It's KO. All right. Lydia, hello, hi, good to see you, everybody. Hi, Greg, hope all is well. I may have to jump off in a bit, but will stay as long as I can. Absolutely, Lydia, you can always watch later. And remember, at the end of the day, you know, you can always follow up later. So it's not that big of a deal. And in fact, I appreciate that you actually jumped in to say hello in the first place. And why my chart is not charting properly? I should be seeing a lot more stuff. I'm not sure why my chart is not charting. Let me just take a look. See here. I think some things are gone. Something is off. Something is very off, and I'll have to get it sorted. And let me try and see if I can get it running here real quick. Okay, we have it going. We have it going, sort of. Okay, let's go with this. Alrighty, that looks normalish to me. All right, so what did we get on the S&P today? On the S&P today, we kinda had more or less, sort of downwards price action. If anything, we've opened up in right here. This is the switch over, why we kind of were pulling downwards and downwards and downwards, and right now we're sort of, again, if you really are more objective about this, more or less sideways. Closing a nice chunk of that gap. I would argue that would still have a little bit left over. Which gap? That is the gap between the third and the fourth right here. Okay, 3rd and the 4th of December. Just to be clear, we have a gap right here, and we've closed a decent chunk of it. Still have a little bit left to close. Now we're moving downwards, still within the same sort of shorter range channel, but those who are more hawk-eyed and sharp-eyed noticed immediately that we're following this longer duration channel, which, as we said, will probably hold, at least for right now. Looking at the 5 minutes, in fact, we're still going to test back to that range based upon the 5 minutes. Let's see, because we're still moving to the downside right here. Let's see what the 30 minutes will tell us. 30 minutes is actually a lot more bullish, and subsequently we should maybe expect that area to be tested, as we said right here, on the 5 minutes, and then result in a movement to the upside. Like we said in the video, we actually looked at Palantir, and we broke down why potentially we're seeing a little bit more momentum in towards on the indices towards the end of the month, towards the end of the year. Subsequently, why we are expecting Palantir potentially to hit 100. So, we spoke about that, but is that certain? Well, we'll see. Again, the stock is down today and everybody's going bananas, but really nothing really changes. We are still probably planning to go higher. We'll look at that, of course, as well. Let's continue with the S&P. So 30 minutes is rather bullish right now. We can see at face value we're bullish. We're moving back into the body of the stochastic RSI, potentially moving higher and higher and higher, giving us eventually overbought conditions, retesting that median that we were just moving within the frameworks of the top and the median and that resistance that we had from before. 45 minutes. 45 minutes is becoming slowly more bullish, right? So we're sort of switching over. We had the squeezing of that bearish momentum, or rather the loss of the bullish momentum. Now that area, that these channels that we've just mentioned are being tested, you can see them clearly right here. Let me remove all that junk. You can see that channel, right? 45 minutes, we have a similar channel, just right now we are below the channel actually. In other words, testing a range that is being created between the 30 minutes channel and the 45 minutes channel. We actually have sort of inevitably created a diagonal upwards moving channel, at least for the time being. We will be able to see whether that's just a retest after this pullback, right, or an actual correction. Hello, Bedwars gang. So hourly, we are slowly becoming more bullish. As we said, we have a little bit more time before it's going to be evident. Why are we saying that? It is this, right? You have this tiny little knob of a convergence divergence right here. So things are kind of switching over. Again, this could be just a correction on the recent pullback, and so it appears to be sort of more or less bearish, but with a little bit of inkling of bullishness, right? But for right now, it appears as if the bullish momentum will come back rather shortly. So again, this is a very temporary sort of phenomena, if you will. 4 hours. 4 hours is actually a lot more bearish. 4 hours easily implying that we're going to retest this median right here, which resides roughly around, for this candlestick, it's probably all done and over, and we're probably going to see, if anything, the very next candlestick, which is tomorrow, testing into that area of 6,050, where it potentially will close that tiny leftover of a gap and will reside, and at least will be retesting that median. We will probably see what is more likely to happen based upon that time frame later. But on the daily, we are again becoming more and more bearish, something that we suspected to happen slightly lower. But then again, does that mean this is the end of the run? Well, let's objectively look at the weekly. On the weekly, actually, this is where we have the real problem. The real problem is that we're actually bullish and moving into overbought territory, which usually does amplify the momentum. In other words, making this entire red candlestick just a pullback on that rally. So a correction, if you will, and that is an absolutely normal phenomena. In fact, those who realize that we're again looking at a far wider channel, what's going on here is that we are basically testing the median. Imagine this to be a separate channel, and we're basically testing that median right now on both ends. And well, right now we're on the lower end, but does that mean that's it, it's all said and over with, said and done and over with? I would say that no, we have a little bit more to go. The monthly is still not yet breaking, still showing resilience, right? When it comes to the monthly chart, we still have 22 days to close this current candlestick. As we are still residing above the longer duration channel, it is far more likely than not that very shortly and eventually we're gonna we'll end up retesting this channel roughly at around depends on how soon, but then again, as we said, not in this month. This month it resides around 5,900. Next month the bottom will be 5,972, so the higher end of 59, let's call it let's call it 5980, 5970-ish, the vicinity of, maybe 5960 even, with some slippage to the downside, considering that we have a leftover remnants of a gap right here at 5962. So it's not going to be completely out of the realm of reality to see the price action retest, or at least move back to that area. Maybe potentially even 59.49, but we'll see. First, let's make it to that 59.62. We'll judge based upon how we see things. 3 months, or where the quarterly did not adjust, subsequently the 6 months and 12 months, the yearly, the half year, and the quarterly did not readjust. There is no actual reason to look at them. So to be objective about the current price action, it appears to be more bearish. But does that mean it's, from here on out, we're just crashing? Greg, your crash has started. No, that's not at all what we're saying. Nothing, in fact, changed. It's just a little bit of a pullback. Remember, boys and girls, the same, we're not biased about one side. We're not going to be biased about another. People are like, well, your SQQQ having a great day. Sure, it doesn't matter. Really, it doesn't matter. It's within the same sort of lower range. And in fact, our bottom is about 131.81. So buying in this vicinity doesn't matter. It's an amazing price to buy, at least in my opinion, and I am planning to buy. I was actually planning to buy earlier, but well, we'll see. I'll end up probably buying towards the end of the week. So we'll see how the price action will be more permissive for me or not. But at the end of the day, this does not change anything, just allows me to buy more at what I would consider a relatively low price. What else is interesting for us? Nvidia is on the down low. Have tested that 141.74 perfectly on the back end, just as we can see right here. Then tested the 140.76, as you can see perfectly right here. Then now we're within the shorter range golden pocket, which is the 138.86 and 138.16. Very tiny pocket for a very tiny trend, but still being tested perfectly, as you can see right here, at least on a shorter range. What we really are looking at is a longer duration channel, and we've been moving to the downside, as you can see, at least temporarily. So it does have its highs, but it appears to be that for right now we'll continue to be moving downwards, probably breaking that golden pocket subsequently, eventually, where it resides also with this median support resistance. Basically depends on the channel. Retesting it, confirming the breakdown, basically means, well, a little bit downside, a little bit more upside, sort of retesting this area, maybe potentially retesting that median that ends up being slightly above, moving into that wedge right here that we're kind of having, right? And eventually breaking down to 135.64, 133.12, 130.01, and of course the previous set of threes that we spoke about is 124.98, 118, which is a range. You have a bit of a range right here between 118.46 to 115.58, 112.95. So you kind of have this trio effect, but really the bottom of the three would be the 112.95. So you might as well call it 110. Why? Because of slippage. So let's set another line here. For some reason I'm missing it, which is supposed to be somewhere right there. Let's just move it down a couple of cents like that, and perfect, right? So that's where we also have another support that we'll have to break, but this is, I would argue, slippage from 112.95. That is Nvidia. Alrighty. Generally speaking, again, let's look at the momentum as well, so we can kind of see what it is, why we're seeing this. So let's look at this. On 30 minutes, we're more bearish than bullish, okay? Right now, on the shorter range of things. But really, we're more bullish than bearish. Why? Because we're in overbought. So what is more dominant? The overbought partition, not us being bearish, right? So in fact, like I said, we have here what we need to retest that median that I've mentioned, right? To have exactly the sort of stuff we need to retest this junction, okay? Right here, and potentially even sliding into this negative wedge and starting to move downwards with it, maybe even expanding. We'll see exactly how the price action will behave. For right now, we can see that it's starting to overturn. Does that mean it's negative? Well, we'll see. This is still positive, as we said, still a lot of positive momentum, being already on the lower end. If it will continue sliding to what will be the 138 area, 138.16, as you can tell, right? The correlation between the channels and the supports and resistances are not coincidental. Let me just say that. So, pardon me, we'll probably end up testing this area, inevitably testing this channel. Confirmation, we end up, if we'll have confirmation on this support for right now, we'll end up moving back higher to 140, pardon me, 0.76. And yeah, that is about as much confirmation as we can have about this. So currently basically retesting this vicinity just to end up testing back up to 140.76 or 141.74. So these are probably on the menu rather shortly. Then on the 4-hourly, we really are basically having relief, right? We're basically a lot more bearish because we are in oversold territory. That means the longer duration trend is already overturning to become bearish. But right now, since we already had just recently a rather significant move based upon the momentum, how the momentum works, right? So now we have a bit of relief. So basically a pull up, if you will, not a pull down. It's a pull up. It's not pull back, but yeah, basically the opposite. So it's gonna pull up a little bit towards, I would argue, probably the 20 area. That is a very normal behavior. Convergence, divergence, right? We're gonna have the forces converge, diverge right here again, and giving us more of that bearish momentum that we spoke about, and potentially representing exactly that very well familiar structure of a head and shoulders. And it could also actually go outside of bounds. As you can see, that is a normal behavior. So don't take my word for, it cannot cross that, as if I'm saying it cannot cross 20% retracement on that side, on the right side of things. It can easily do so. But result at the end of the day will be more negative than bullish. That's what this is implying. Now, what are we seeing here? Let's remove some junk from the chart. Let's have it clean and nice. What are we seeing here? Here again, it's actually a trend to the upside, and now we're having a bit of a cool off, right? Some pullback on the price action, which we're seeing perfectly right here. Everything correlates just as we should expect it to. But is this, how long will this persist? If we're having this on the daily, we can probably extrapolate at least a couple more candlesticks out, and giving us a couple to 3, maybe 4 days closing off this week, being a lot more bearish than bullish, right? Which again gives us the ability to retest these lows that we've just mentioned, the 138 and 138.16 and 138.86, kind of, right? That's the vicinity. It could be also 135 even. We could slip lower, so that's not going to be an abnormality. Weekly is actually a lot more bearish, as you can tell, right? So it appears to be gaining more negative momentum, or rather quickly representing the loss of momentum. If we're going to look at the volume right here, right, of the previous week, we can see that, well, it's not shifting one way or another, but yes, we are seeing a lot of bearish momentum right there, or rather a lot of bearish volume that overtakes our bullish volume. But then again, we're seeing this on the stochastic RSI, so that's not an abnormality. The thing is, the question, when will this run out and we'll be done with it and try to pull back up to 140? As we said, during this month, at least based upon the S&P, we have enough time to close that sort of area and retest it again easily. As you can see how the structure of the candlesticks is appearing right now, it appears as if the bears are able to outsell the bulls significantly so for the last 3 months, right? Although the bulls were able still to make some gains, but we're able to outsell them, so to speak. Well, the bears, rather, the more bearish people, to outsell them significantly so, and we're seeing this consistent loss of momentum based upon the wicks, right? Not weeks, but wicks of the candlestick, the little part that you burn off on the candle, that is called wick. So we are talking about those. If we're going to look again at the quarterly, we see that we're almost peaking out right here. Basically, we're running hot for quite a while, so it's not going to be all that surprising to see a pullback. But since we're looking this at the quarterly, the very next time that we're going to see a readjustment will be within 22 days. So we still actually have 22 days to go before potentially a heavier pullback starts. Although, as you all know, this sort of pullback we've been waiting for quite a while now, so this can happen pretty much any second. This is why it's very risky to play these plays right now, or as it has been for the past several months, really. But then again, at the end of the day, we're looking at things here at face value, what the momentum looks like. And the momentum looks more positive with a little bit of negativity, or rather some pullback in it for right now. Does that mean it's going to be certain that we're going to have a another rally to the upside? No, but it appears to be that it does have enough momentum to do so within the following couple of weeks. Okay, so that is Nvidia for you. I think we've covered Nvidia to death. Christoph, hello, hello, hello. Hi, how are ya? Good to see you here, brother, buddy. You are always welcome. Can only lurk again. See you later. No, bro, it's completely, totally fine. I completely understand. I appreciate you show up anyways, being, considering how busy you are and, having kids and stuff. So I completely understand, bro. You're a legend. So, and what about SoFi, Sound, and Archer? I see today the main requester of tickers is Bed Wars Gang. Alrighty, so let's do it for Bed Wars Gang. No problem. We're gonna do that gladly. Why is this not working again? What's up with my thingy today? It's just refusing to work. Refusal to work. We don't like that. Let me remove that nonsense. Alrighty, let's just keep things clean. What do we want? We said we want, what do we want? You said SoFi, Sound, and Archer. So, screw it. Let's go SoFi first. Why not? Let's do SoFi. SoFi completely outperformed any expectations I had about it, by the way. Pardon me for my horribly messy chart. It happens. You'll have to deal with it. So SoFi completely outperformed any expectations I've had. We were looking at, let me just remove that. It's going to be a bit junky. 11-ish. Let's just remember we have a bit of a range right here. It's going to be just in our way. Okay, so we have about an 11 there. It's kind of 11-ish thingy. Let's call it that. So the idea was that SoFi will reside and will end up staying within the vicinity of maybe 10. What was that? It was 938. You might as well call it 940 vicinity. We have there a set of supports and resistances that are kind of, because they're intertwined with one another, it's not that surprisingly going to be strong. 910 and 885. That was the vicinity it was expected for the price action to be retained within, and eventually when the market does break back to around 4 or maybe even lower. I know it sounds insane, but yep, that's the way it goes. And yeah, the market completely outperformed and outplayed any expectations, and we completely broke out of the channel. We're stopped by 1625, which we have a major retracement level right there. And now we're being tested. Now we were testing basically what is the ceiling, the resistance at this 625. But we're moving within this very, very crazy channel. Right now we're probably moving to this range. I would argue with this sort of, trajectory we'll end up testing. Again, it's that sort of lows, that 14 area, which is not surprising. You have SMA simple moving average creeping up from below. Again, on the hourly, not daily simple moving average, none of that bullshit. No, it's hourly. Let's be clear about these things. And so it's not going to be that surprising if this price action will actually catch and will hold up at around 1490, 15 maybe, flat kind of within that vicinity, which gives us a psychological 15. So again, not all that surprising. Right there, perfect, boom. Let's put it right there. You can see it, taking its, showing off how the market cares about it right here, perfectly like that. You see, boom, magic, right? And since it wasn't retested all so many times, I'm not going to be surprised if it's going to be retested a couple more times on the lower end, potentially maybe, testing it once or twice and then moving over to retest it as a ceiling before a correction will come later. So basically look out for 15 and potentially even lower. What are we saying in terms of momentum? Momentum is already becoming more bearish. Why is it doing all that? It will be trying to retrace back to this range-ish, call it 1388. That was a longer duration channel that the price action broke out of, which again, not going to be surprising for me if it's going to be retested on lower end, higher end of it before the price action does break down, at least to retest the bottom of the channel, which you can see coincidentally part of our supports and resistances we've mentioned at around 15 also matches with the median of this very same channel. So right now we're moving towards testing the median and eventually lower. Does that mean it's going to happen today, tomorrow? No, we potentially could be having, since we're looking at the daily, several more days that will be moving into this wedge before we start doing any of these things, right? Just to be clear, I just kind of drew it from where we are because my stupid brain works like that. But really, to be more objective and precise about things, we still could be moving up and down within a range right now, arguably maybe some form of kind of into this wedge, but arguably again it could be very weird and wonky and hard to recognize, because what appears to be is that we're potentially moving into this wedge in the first place. If we are, it's not going to be all that surprising if we're going to see various levels that are internal to this that we mentioned before getting retested before the market does actually perform this correction, giving it potentially a higher low, but still roughly around 14 bottom line, still retesting that 15 on the way. Okay, that is I hope you remembered all of it. It's kind of an instruction, right, to how, so this is how you bake the cake, right? Because it's not going to be just straightforward down. Stonky! What's up, brother? Hit the like button, guys. It helps grow. Absolutely. Stonks is right. Stonks is having a nice day today with Plug. Plug is having a bit of a blast. But sadly, those of us who are in Plug, I hate to say it, boys and girls, again, I'm with you in the same boat. Plug, I sadly fear, will retest that 188 again, so just be aware. Be aware. I know it seems nice right now, but be aware. We will probably end up retesting 188. Stonky here can confirm. We've done the analysis many times. We're moving into a rather narrow wedge, so right now we're kind of testing the ceiling, if you will, of that wedge. Imagine a kind of a descending line that comes here from behind like that and just kind of descends downwards. So eventually we still have a little bit more time to go. Yeah, it looks short term. Yeah. I mean, I'm telling them because they don't know. You and I know. We need, it was just a quick mention of the thing since you were here, brother. So I decided, to mention a couple of words. If anything, you and I know this to death. We can be woken up in the middle of the night and break down what it is that's going on right there. Okay, let's go to sound, because that was the very next one we were planning to do. So we were stopped by 1555. Not surprising, it's a neat, sexy number, 1555, khamsa, khamsa, khamsa. People of the market, we have our own special tism, if you will. It's a bad word, apparently, we're not allowed to say, but yeah, we have our own thing where, short circuit, if you will, which are pretty numbers. So I'm not surprised that was the number that ended up playing a role of a stronger support resistance temporarily. So I'm not going to be surprised if it will get retested again, and eventually with correction, because we still have this volume to the upside, and at least on a shorter range it is very much bearish. Not surprising, it will attempt to move back down to this range. What do we have here? Here the range is actually a lot lower, not surprising again given how high the market ran with this, but it's going to be a transition. There'll be a transitory, sure, but there'll be like a transition sort of. I don't know what my brain was thinking. Anyways, English much, bro? Transa. Hamza. Yeah, exactly. Hamza. But yes, so there'll be some of this transitory period in which it's going to be transitioning back and forth, basically. Potentially we're going to be retesting these levels, as we said, so it's not just straightforward up or down. Expect 155 to be part of that process. expect what I'm guessing to be around 14, so 14 and a bit, so subsequently call it just 14. It's going to be simpler to call it 14, and I would argue that was perfect. If I would have actually used the right tool, that would have been magnificent, but since I'm a moron, yeah, but more like that. But anyway, different color, but screw that. For the time being, you understand. You have here another support resistance level roughly within this vicinity with some slippage to what we will see as appearing as 13 subsequently. Just 1 cent below this will be already a 13. Same picture, longer duration, right? Again, sort of transitory thing, back and forth. Weaving in and out. Now then what you'll have that set. You don't have any data, so that's probably the most reliable thing we can have right now, which is that. Oh yeah, I was surprised. It didn't make sense. Okay, that makes sense. Come on, wakey wakey, I saw you. There you go. Yeah, so basically, as you can see, same sort of narrative, but since this is monthly, this basically implies that this is not necessarily going to die out within the following week or two. It will actually persist into the end of the year, and potentially will be then over with when the overall market starts to correct, which, as we see so far, more likely to happen in the beginning of next year, or at least not before this year properly ends. That is at least what we're saying for right now with the sound. What else? ACHR. Let's do ACHR real quick. I know there are some other people who like it here, so that's gonna be for all of you people who want to see ACHR. Let's quickly look at the 1 hourly. 1 hourly is more bullish. That is again probably what we're gonna see through the rest of the session for today. I don't have that much time left, so all in all, it's actually a lot more probable that we're gonna see more sort of a correction, almost like this bullish, but very, very barely, right? Sideways, but bullish. 4 hourly, which kind of slips into what's going to happen potentially tomorrow. If anything, indicative of a bit of a cool off period that we had right here from being very bullish. Right now, we're just sort of finding its footing right here in the middle, finding this middle ground, if you will, retesting it, potentially moving right up to this level on the 4 hours. I would argue it probably matters. In fact, I'm not all that surprised. We're having post a breakdown. We have then a bit of a pull up again. The market pulls up back to that 20% correction that we mentioned before, toward that 20% range on the stochastic RSI. So we'll give it that not 20% correction, I completely said nonsense, but towards that 20% range, giving it some of a somewhat pullback on the price action. We could argue a couple of percents easily. So yeah, I would argue maybe a couple of percents all in all, up and down, up and down. Weekly is actually starting to look a lot more painful for you. This is actually overturning slowly and becoming a lot more bearish than bullish. Of course, I would argue this is going to take some time, potentially with another convergence and divergence. Why? Because here it is. You're more bullish than bearish in the long run, right? This is a monthly. Again, we'll have to wait and see how the month closes. But for right now, you're more bullish than bearish. Between us, girls, I'll say that it's more like this, right? So yeah, no. To some, that quote sounded weird. To those who speak Russian, we understand. It's me quoting how my mother speaks. That's, man, they say между нами девушками or something like that. It's like secretly let me tell you that, right? That's what it means. Palantir, yeah, I want to see Palantir. How surprisingly. How surprising. So Palantir is starting to correct to the upside. Does that mean it's all said and done? Let's look at the hourly. 4 hourly, sorry, I kind of went overboard. That is following that upwards channel that was mentioned in the video, being retested, so that's not all that surprising, quite normal. If the market will be extra painful, you will end up retesting the whole channel, which is 68. That's the wider one, not wider, wide, the wider gap, well, range, sorry. So that wider range could be tested. Let's see on the 4 hourly. Yes, can easily be tested. The wider range could be tested, as we said. Regardless of all of this, continuing at this current rate, we still can reach $100-ish right here before the end of the year. Like, Greg, but your channel here's below. Right, sure, give it, a Christmas rally, and we're gonna have some slippage out of 95, $5, not that out the realm of possibility. Plus, I mean, Christmas rally is just kind of around the corner, so yes, not all channels will appear to be just perfectly in line, but based upon, for example, 4 hours, just as is at current rate, as you can see, we can easily make it 2, right? If retaining this shorter range channel on the 4 hourly, we can easily make it $200 before the end of the year, which is marked in yellow right here on the bottom. You see 31st of December 24. So in other words, the very next day. And yeah, we can kind of make it towards, for example, right here as we make it, give it some rally, right? Not exactly on the 31st, but giving it a little bit slippage out of this range. You can easily make it to $100 based on psychological momentum. I'm not going to be surprised if, given this range, given this potential wedge, for example, we can even make it prior to. We don't have to do it, in the last trading days before everybody goes to for a break. For a Christmas break. So what else? Let's look at this. So again, not all that surprising, just kind of a bit of relief post a rally, very normal behavior, right? Now let's see on the weekly. Well, weekly you're starting to have that breakdown of the momentum, but it's not going to be all that surprising if we're going to end up retesting that on the 80% range of the stochastic RSI, giving us some more bullish momentum as we slowly descend below, just the same way it does these sort of processes very often. Something like this, something like this. Very, very, very likely. Just based upon momentum and how the overall market looks. If you think about it, the market does not necessarily look like it's going to break to all hell tomorrow. I mean, we know it can happen any second, but it doesn't show at the current time frame. If we look at according time frames, we're in fact far more likely to be slowly bullish, right, rather than bearish. Right now, again, for example, 1 hourly is bearish, makes sense, but we've been testing that area for a little bit, and all takes a little bit of a pickup, right, moving into overbought territory and moving towards the end of the year, even if we're going to have more time in bearish territory, just subsequently eventually moving into bullish territory and giving us a little bit more upside. Why do we think that? Again, remember, in the larger time frames, we're basically already there, right? In fact, if we're looking at what we can perceive probably to happen for the following weeks on the S&P is a little bit more squeezing out of that bullish momentum, potentially, if this will expand even, right, based upon sentiment before this breakdown pardon me, actually occurs. We still have a little bit more bullish momentum to actually squeeze out, and as we said, here it is, we can see it. Okay, that is that. So we've done these, we've done Palantir. Now, Emil, let me not jump over your comment. Hey, Greg, last week we spoke about Hood and how it would test the 4042 level. Now we are here. Do you see a breakdown into previous trend line, or do you see it bursting through? Thanks. No problem, Emil. Let's check Hood, brother. What is the problem? We quick look at Hood. What is the problem? Since we are already there, and I mean, time to do the job, right? Let's see. So I see, yes, you ended up testing that level perfectly. Based upon the current momentum, you're probably moving back down a little bit to a higher low, right? So still retaining potentially that channel, no problem. Let's call it what, a 39 area? 39 and a half, so not that far off from where we are right now, all in all. That's less cool for you because that's 35, 90, no, 35, just call it 35-ish area, right? To keep it simple, potentially, maybe even 34, depending on how quickly will that be achieved. Why? Because of this, right? I mean, that's daily, so you're probably looking outwards the following week potentially, right? But let's see. Yeah, you, like I suspected, you are still actually bullish. Before you confirm it by breaking through the 80% range, you are still bullish officially. Now you're just having a bit of a cool off, right? A normal period, which, as we said, will probably bring you to that 35. Again, it all correlates. Right now, it does not necessarily appear that you're breaking down to close that gap at around 30, so you're kind of fine still. You're not great, but you're sort of the gauges that point out the larger time frames actually point out that throughout this month you're far more likely to be safe and gain a little bit more gains towards that 44.23. But honestly, remember, the principle is simple. Yes, you have more juice to squeeze. The risk factor is kind of obvious, I guess. You just need to decide whether you're willing to take that risk, right? That's the only function that you have to sort of look at and ask yourself, is that fine with me? But you still have a little bit more juice to squeeze. But yeah, it's all dangerous. I mean, guys, be attentive. All of the stocks slightly, slowly start to break down. People start to panic, right? So it's not all that abnormal. But with the rate that's going on right now, I would argue that this is not it. This is just a jump scare. Usually when the market breaks, it breaks. It breaks so fast, you don't want to get out, right? So this is not it. Just saying. Oh, that was supposed to be my S&P, but anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna bring it back later. Don't just like the button the like. It's absolutely free. I agree. Don't forget to sign up to the Patreon. The Patreon is only $8.50 if you sign up for the annual subscription, right? And actually, let me throw the link in the chat right there. Those who are annoyed, I'm sorry. This is, it gives me some, some change to throw at the market, right? I mean, come on. And actually, the community itself. All right, so this is the link to the Patreon. Sign up, join us on Discord. Oh my god, I'm a freaking moron. I had it on the screen all along. Why you guys don't tell me I'm a freaking moron? Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I forgot about it. I'm a freaking moron. I am freaking moron. Sorry for that, boys and girls. I so apologize. That was not the intention. I completely forgot about it. Sorry. So yeah, Hood, like we said, it's in dangerous territory, but is it already willing to break? Yeah, no data, no way data on that one. It's starting to have cracks, but like a lot of other stocks. But basically, what we were looking at, whether it has the potential to actually make it to 44.23. I would argue that yes, it still has that potential to do so. But then again, you're already playing with fire doing that, right? That is Hood. No worries, Tonky. I'm glad that you showed up even for just a second. RDDT. R Reddit? I hate Reddit. I really hate Reddit. Now remembering how short range it is. I hate Reddit. Have I said that I hate Reddit? Yeah, I hate Reddit. It sucks and it sucks and it sucks. And did I say it sucks? Yeah, no data, no data. Sure. That sucks so bad. What do you mean, Alan? Santa is from Area 51. Could that be 140 altogether? That's questionable. It could be 140. Let's see what happens if I just do 140. That's not 140. Yeah, okay, so cool. You have something there. That makes sense. Wonder what's the channel, but mhm. I mean, you're obviously squeezing the final juices out of this thing, and you obviously have this 138, 140. I'm gonna assume probably 150 as well. You probably have like a 150 somewhere there. Let's see if it is there. Yeah, here it is. Well, no, well, yeah, it's there. Kind of crooked, but there. Yep, ugly, but there. Okay, so basically, you will probably end up retesting that level that you are within right now and kind of formulating this, well, pennant thingy that will be probably moving eventually to here. The question is whether it's going to be more like a that thing or more like a that thing, but eventually to here. The thing is with this, I saw some bullish momentum there. So that actually goes to show that you're potentially gonna move even higher than the current. Well, what is that? What is that? Do we have a week? No, we don't have a week. So yes, you're gonna be potentially retesting that level that you're within right now, maybe higher, maybe that 170, 180, slightly higher. At least it appears to be that you're still moving to the upside, and since you are in overbought territory, it gets amplified. So it's not going to be surprising to me if you're going to maybe make another candlestick within that direction. Maybe even a couple of them, but get ready. On the grand scheme of things, I do think you'll see some pain as you're going through it, and I would argue that all in all, rather shortly, especially with the rest of the market, you will see a correction here. And it's going to be taking you a lot lower than that 123. It's actually going to be taking you quite low. It's going to be closing that gap. It's going to be definitely, that gap is not going to be left alone. That 83 is, you're like, well, Greg, it's like 50% drop. Yes, 50% drop. You don't like it? Boo-hoo. It is what it is. I'm not here to upset anybody. I'm just saying what I see. Mike, no hate, right? Stones, guys, I'm recommending you. Yeah, but today, today, finally, me and Ellen are hanging out, and we have time, and you're not there, and we hang out there for hours. And then I see you there when I'm busy, and I'm dying to jump in. We were having some discrepancy, me and Stonky, in the last couple of days. We're trying to get a hold of each other. Hang around on Discord, daily chat, especially on Wednesdays. We are active on the voice chat. Weekdays, not Wednesday. Weekdays. Sorry, why did I say Wednesdays? Stupid brain. Stupid. Weekdays, absolutely. Weekdays, we hang out there in the open forum. I answer questions of the members, depending on your, time frame and time zone, and we can jump even before the market opens. I'm there sometimes. And yeah, we pretty much there every day, and weekly hangouts when I have some extra time. So look at your tickers. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Stonky. Thank you for saying it. Yeah. Don't be shy, folks. Feel free to ask for Greg to look at your tickers. Abso-effing-lutely. We do that all the time, gladly, and just don't throw me, a chat or something like that and expect me to write you an article answer in the chat. No. Jump in and talk to me, right? The chat there is mainly for you guys to talk back and forth, honestly, about these things, but if you really want to have and conduct a good conversation and get results and get proper information, join in. I will share screens, send you pictures, whatever it needs, whatever it takes for me to show you what I mean. So yeah, absolutely, Stonks. Thank you very much for pointing that out. I agree, sir. And especially now with the annual subscription, it's only $8.50, really. I mean, anybody can afford that. It actually supports the channel, supports the Discord, supports everything. Don't forget, I don't really get paid by YouTube yet. They are really, really, really discriminating against me. They can say whatever, but I've been stuck at like 1,800 subscribers for a while, and it's starting to feel very artificial. Very artificial, I'm just going to say. Straightforward. All of the behavior I'm getting is very artificial. I mean, how is it that it takes YouTube to send me a letter more than 4 months, right? While simultaneously, in the time being, I've made multiple orders from Amazon and I've got them less than a week. Okay? And you'd say, well, China. No, lots of it came from the US. So, I mean, stop it. The US is, YouTube is obviously discriminating against me. This is not cool. Not cool at all. And if you're wondering about the letter they need to send, they not just know my address, I pinpointed it on a map for them. So something here is being very screwy. All right, boys and girls, we're going to adjourn this for today. Why? Because we have a call with Tom, and I really, really want to participate in that call. And some of our members also are Tom's Academy members. And so, yeah, boys and girls, join us on the Discord through Patreon. Don't forget, all activities are on Discord. Patreon is merely a gateway. You'll get a message there, a notification, and you'll have kind of the message about it. So, yeah, that's it. See you on the Discord, which we'll have the links for in the description. In fact, let me see if I can pull out my Discord link real quick right here. Let me just see what I can do. Let me see, just like that. All right, but that is after you become a member. If you're not a member on Patreon, you cannot join the Discord. You'll be locked out, basically. Make sure you realize that. That's it, boys and girls. You all have a wonderful evening. We'll see you on Tom's Academy Zoom, and that's it. See you on the next one. Oh yeah, by the way, don't forget to watch the Palantir video because it still is applicable and everything still stands. People are panicking like little children for no good reason right now. We're just at the bottom of the channel. That's normal behavior. I've been doing that for the last several months. I mean, what the hell, guys? Chill. In fact, I saw some smart people on Tom's Discord saying, I mean, it's great, right? I think they pretty much understand that the whole idea is to, I mean, unless you feel like it's too risky to ride, but it's not that, I mean, it's there. It's all right. We can see the potential of this playing out. To each their own whether they want to participate in. I'm not advising on anybody, and remember, none of this is financial advice. The mere meandering thoughts of a crazy madman on the internet. All right. And as always, remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel before you leave. Absolutely. Stonks, yes. Make sure you're subscribed. Otherwise, YouTube is being... Bye, Greg. Thanks for the shameless plug. I love you much, shameless plug. Wink, wink. Love you much, brother. Thank you. Appreciate your support. And hello, Greg and Co. Danny, good to see you, but sadly, we're closing off the call. I need to run, and some of the other members need to run. But that's it. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye, boys and girls.